Okay, I'm starting the session. So, hello guys, my name is Advocate A. Tiruthi, and today's course is on mastering legal writing. So, today I'll basically be talking about legal writing, about research, and how do you start legal writing? What is the difference between an article, a research paper, and a blog? And how do you network and through your LinkedIn and get good collaborations, and how do you start writing a paper, what are the necessities in that. So first I will introduce myself. So, like I said, I'm an advocate and I'm a student, a law student pursuing masters at VIT Vellore Institute of Technology, Chennai. I have passed I am a graduate BA LLB from UPS, University of Petroleum and Energy Studies, and I have my voice is breaking. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, it's
Yes,
clear.
ma'am. Yes,
Okay,
yes,
Aman, I guess
ma'am.
your network has some issues.
Your voice is not.
Okay. So I was saying that I'm a LLB graduate from University of Petroleum and Energy Studies, and I have written 11 publication as of now, and I'm hoping to collaborate more and write a lot of more research papers and articles and dissertations. So now we'll be starting. Thanks. Okay. Okay, you're welcome for the intro. Yeah, so basically today's topic is legal writing. So, can anybody tell me what do you mean by legal writing? What is your definition of legal writing? Come on, guys, answer. There is no point of this course if I'm the one talking.
Which we have written related to law.
Your voice is breaking. Can you repeat again?
Which we have written related to law.
Okay. Any more? Sorry, guys.
Law activities.
Article written on uh, law related subjects.
Okay. So basically, if you see through my PPT, so legal writing, it refers to analysis of facts, presentation of arguments in depth. Okay. Now, obviously, when what you mean by legal writing is you have to analyze, you have to present yourself in such a manner that your content is not bullshit, right? You cannot write anything and everything, because your content is the main thing in legal writing. You should know what you are writing, you should analyze your facts, you should analyze your facts and uh, can you guys see my PPT? Is everyone Can everybody see my PPT, or is it
Yes,
not?
yes.
Yes.
No.
A lot of people are
No,
saying.
ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Yes,
No, ma'am.
Okay, wait, I'll just reshare it 1 second. Now is it showing?
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Okay, so I was saying that in legal writing, your content is the most important thing. So for that, you have to read a lot, you have to analyze a lot, you have to have a good understanding of your basics. And by basics, I mean, as a law student, obviously you have to have a good understanding of law, of what you are writing, and obviously the most important thing is you cannot just copy paste from AI, because nowadays AI is so trending and everybody wants to just copy paste and not do any work, but that doesn't happen. So you have to, obviously you can take references from various AIs, but your work should be original. You cannot copy paste. You cannot just take everything from ChatGPT and publish it. That is not going to happen. So for a legal writing, research is very important. And so basically research is the inquiry for verification of a fresh theory or prevailing theories. So this basically means that if you are writing a paper on some new aspects, then obviously you have to go inside and you have to read in depth, analyze in depth, and then make a legal article or a research paper or a blog. But if there is some existing theory, for example, you can take the example of artificial intelligence. Before the COVID era, if you would have written a paper about artificial intelligence, then definitely you will get a lot more views on that paper, or a lot more people might read that paper, because at that time AI was still developing. But now also we have various kind of AIs like Chat GPT or Copilot or Gemini. So we have so much AI now. So if you write a paper on that, maybe it won't be read that much, because it's already prevailing. So you have to obviously, if you're writing a paper on AI or something, you have to go in depth, learn about it, read about it, and you can obviously explore a lot more about AI. So basically, that is research. It is the careful, diligent, and exhaustive investigation of a specific subject matter. You have to go in depth of a specific subject matter. You might take two, three topics together, and then you can write one article. But it should not be different topics. It can be a interdisciplinary items, but it cannot be like, for example, you cannot take AI and then you can't take marriage, right? That is completely different aspects. So you have to take some topics which might be interrelated and interconnected. That way it will definitely help you. Okay, now going to the next slide. So I'll be talking about the objectives. So basically, the objectives of this course is, first is to master the legal communication. Now, what do you mean by mastering legal communication? So basically, it's like to develop the ability. You in yourself, you have to have that ability. You have to develop your routine to read, to write, to to research in depth, and you have to ask yourself a lot of questions. If you don't ask yourself questions, you will never become a good writer, because it's not like you can just take one aspect and just copy paste anything and write, right? So it's basically to develop the ability to articulate complex legal concepts. You should know what is your basics. It should be very clear. If I'm talking about marriage, what is marriage? I should know what is marriage. I cannot just write anything and everything, right? So you have to, and your language, the content that you're writing, that language should be persuasive. It should be very clear. Even if a layman is reading your article, he or she should understand what you have written. It's not necessary that if you are a law student and you're writing a paper on law, that means only lawyers or legal practitioners or legal scholars can read it. No, any man can read it. One second. My video is not visible. Can everybody see me?
Yes, we
Yes.
can see.
Okay. I guess there might be some network issues. You can reconnect.
Maybe, maybe if you can ping yourself, then everybody will see you.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Can everybody see me now?
Yes, ma'am, we can see.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, so I was talking about mastering legal communications. So you have to be very sure about who are you articulating your facts, right? So it is not only just because you're a law student, it is not necessary that only lawyers are going to read it. Any layman person will also read it. So your article, your research paper or blog or whatever the short paragraph also that you're writing, it should be in a very clear and persuasive tone, so that people can understand. Now, the second point is improving legal research proficiency. So, like I said, we have to gain expertise in research. Your legal research should be on top notch. If you know how to research, if you know how to get your materials, how to articulate them in a good way, then it is very nice as a writer. Because obviously now any content that you write, how will you write if you don't have the researching ability, right? You have to first research about the topic. With deep research, then only you can write. And deep research doesn't mean that you're taking one article, reading that article and writing it. No, you have to read a lot. You have to read 5, 7, 10 articles. You have to read a lot of research papers. You have to read a lot of books, right? Because if you people would know, in this generation we believe more on typing and copy pasting and not reading, so that doesn't work. Obviously we have to be a good reader. And as law students, our job is we have to be currently fully updated with whatever is going on in the world, right? So for us, for that, you have to read on. You have to read as many books, as many articles, as many research papers, as many dissertations. You have to read everything. For that, obviously, there are various sites that you can refer to. I can share two sites. One is, for research papers, you can go through researchgate.net. And for if you want to research, you want to read more on dissertations or thesis and all, then you have shodhganga.com, where there are a lot of dissertations, a lot of research papers. So if somebody wants to publish a paper, they can go through these sites, they can read a lot. Obviously you cannot copy paste the same thing. You should
Can,
have originality. So
ma'am, can you
for,
repeat the names?
sorry.
Can you repeat the names of
Yeah,
the
one
website?
is researchgate.net, and one is Shodhganga. So these two are like your go-to things, because Shodhganga will have more of dissertations, but it will also have research papers and all. And researchgate.net has only research papers, and both of them are free. Yeah, and both of them are free, so you can take a look at that. Like in researchgate.net, you might also come across a lot of paper where you need to request for full access. One second. Can you please suggest some good websites and papers to get these articles published? Yes, definitely. See, if you go to Google and you type UGC Scopus indexed journals, you'll get a list of the journals that are UGC Scopus indexed. And if somebody is interested in academia, if they want to become a teacher, they want to pursue LLM, they want to do PhD, for them it is very necessary for you to get published in UGC care, yeah, UGC care list or UGC Scopus index journals. Because
Ma'am, sorry to disturb. What is the scope in LLM?
what is the scope in LLM? See,
Yes.
depends on.
Actually, I am currently now a second year law student. I am a student of BBA LLB
Okay,
at IIIJS Kolkata.
okay.
So I am also thinking for my future studies to pursue LLM. But what is the scope in LLM?
See, depends on your area of field also. Like I am pursuing LLM in IPR, right? So my area of specialization is intellectual property rights. So it will depend on the field that you want to pursue. Also, LLM is done by people who want to become a teacher, who want to go into academia, or who want to pursue PhD. Or if not, there are people who do it for the more upgrading themselves for legal education and all. And if you are a person who want to get into government jobs or into ministries and all, for that LLM is very necessary. Because if you see anywhere, be it Ministry of Commerce, Ministry of Law and Justice, everywhere now masters have become mandatory. So you need to get your you need to have a master's degree. Because with LLB, this you have. Can you tell us about? Yes, I will. So it's like with LLB you have very limited scope, because with LLM you can get more legal knowledge, and it would be like a specialized area where you'll have a specialization, right? So in that the scope really matters. So you can that but that will.
Okay, okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you.
Welcome. So I was talking about improving legal research proficiency. So obviously, for us as a writer, as a legal lawyer, you have to have good expertise in legal research. You have to identify case laws, whatever is important, because in articles, research paper, blogs, dissertations, anything that you write, it is very important for you to cite, right? Now if you're writing something, you cannot just write it and leave it like that. You have to cite it. That is what is known as footnotes or citations. That I will teach you in later sessions. But today it's just that footnotes is basically something very important, because whatever you're writing, there is a need for you to cite. And if you would know, there are different styles of citations. For example, APA, Harvard, Oscola, Blue Book. And that also depends, it's very important. Yes, ILI also. So there are various types of citations or footnotes, and it depends from journal to journal also. Because, like for example, in the UGC Care List or Scopus Index or whatever journal that you want, they have different styles. Not every journal will go with Blue Book, or not every journal will go with APA or Harvard. uh, Aman, today's class is on legal writing. So first, let me complete. Whatever questions you have, just ping me in the. Just write it on the text box. I'll take at last. Okay. Let me first complete what I'm saying. Yeah, so basically, so you have different footnotes, and not every journal will adhere to all the footnotes. So you have to modify your paper in such a way that you are following that particular style of footnotes also. So for example, if now I'm writing a paper on IPR and I want to publish it in Queen's Mary Journal of IP, then I have to go with what the journal says. And if I go in that section, it will properly, the every journal will specify what style you want. Every journal will talk about how the format should be. They have a particular format, you have to follow that format only. So you have to modify your paper according to that. Okay, now next we're talking about adhering to ethical standard. As I said earlier, you cannot copy paste from AI. You can use AI for your reference, you can use AI for your grammatical error and all, but I would still suggest use Grammarly for grammatical errors and not AI. So for following ethical standard is, obviously, if everybody knows that in a paper you have plagiarism, right? So your plagiarism is checked when you publish a paper. They will go through that Turnitin software. If you guys would have heard, Turnitin is a paid software, and everybody, mostly all the colleges or universities, they follow Turnitin software for plagiarism. And it depends from college to college, but as far I know, mostly it is 20% or 10% less is what is allowed as far the plagiarism is. And now because of AI, now you have these AI generated articles. So in Turnitin now this AI concept is also there. So even if you copy paste from AI, Turnitin will also check how much percentage is the AI generated content. So you will be caught whatever you do. So you have to be very very cautious, and you have to be very your content should be original. There is no point of copy pasting in life, right? You have to have your own concept. You have to, definitely, you can read a lot, you can see how people are writing. As I said, research gate and that Shod Ganga will give you a proper structure, a proper analysis of how a research paper should be. So in that case, you can check all that. Now the last here point is preparing for professional practice. So as a lawyer, obviously, there are people who might go into litigation, there are people who might go into corporate, there are people who might go into academia. So for all that, legal writing is the most important thing. Even as a lawyer, you should have your drafting skills. Drafting skill will come through legal writing, from publishing things, or even normal, if you are going through the current topics and all, and if you just through LinkedIn you can publish your opinions about your own things, about what is going on in the world, what do you think, what is your opinion on that. So even if you start doing that, that will generate a good response, and your skills will improve. The most important in law is to enhance your skills, and the basic skill that a person should have as a lawyer is legal writing. If you don't have that skill, then it is very difficult for a law student or a legal professional to upscale in their life, because writing is the most important thing. Okay, now we'll move to the next slide. Yeah. So this is about networking on LinkedIn. So as I said that as a lawyer, LinkedIn is the most important thing. See, when I was in my law school first year, I used to think LinkedIn is very, I don't know, what is this LinkedIn? I used to be so not interested in this platform. I used to be like, it's not worthy enough, right? But when I came to my third year, to my fourth year, then I realized the importance of LinkedIn. I realized the importance of networking. Networking is most important, be it a lawyer or any profession that you do. Networking and sourcing is very important, and as a law student, this is literally the most important thing. So I would suggest that every student should have a LinkedIn profile, and not only LinkedIn profile, they should be active on the LinkedIn profile as well. They should have that they should have that routine of not, if you cannot post every day, it's okay, but even if you are posting something valuable about law, about what you are learning as a law student, or what is going on in the world, for example, this Kolkata case, you might post your opinion about what you think about the rape and murder case. What is your opinion? It is very important to network, because through this you might get a lot of legal professionals. You might connect with a lot of founders of law firms, of various institutions, or even professors, teachers, and through that only you can uh, upscale. Yes, it is. Yeah, it also works for job seekers in law, definitely, but that is a later stage, because that will be when you complete your law degree, right? After, and for that, first you have to remain active in LinkedIn, post regularly, update yourself, upscale your CV, because even as I can tell you, my one or two of my internships were from LinkedIn. I got a lot of opportunities through LinkedIn. And obviously you should also network through, if you would know, obviously there is this community platform for law people, which is Legitimate India. So you can network through Legitimate India as well. You can publish your papers also in Legitimate India. You can email Legitimate India for your publishing of papers, research papers, article writing, or anything. So this is very important for a law student, that it is that LinkedIn is a very good source, right? Because if you see LinkedIn, you can go through a lot of other people's CVs. You can see, you can connect with them, and you can even connect faculties. You can try to write a paper with them. See, it is important to write a solo a single author paper, but it is also important to have a teacher faculty with you, who can write, who can help you in writing, and and you can become a co-author in that as well. Because if there are foreign journals, now if you are targeting foreign journals, and if you write with a faculty, most of the places are there where the faculty is considered to be the first author. So for that, it is very important. Ma'am, is it worthy to publish articles on legal services? Yes, you can. Yeah, it is worthy. See, I also had a lot of paper which I published in blog iPleaders. Right, my initial papers and all were from iPleaders only. So I started from there. Like, if you see, I had written on, I guess, minority, this law about minority, and then I guess guardianship. Yeah, so maintenance and this guardianship stuff. So it was, my articles were on that in blog iPleaders. I have publications on legal service India more than 30. That's a very good thing if you have more than 30 publications. Vishal, it is very good. Uh, but see, it doesn't matter how many publications you have. Like, the number is not important. What is important is the content. The content is good enough. If there are people who are viewing it, there are people who are studying it, then it is very good, right? And see, if you have 30 articles, very good, but the important thing is, how would people know that there are 30 articles? You have published this, right? So for that, you have to promote it. How would you promote it? See, even anybody has a brand. There are so many YouTubers. How are these people so successful? They are not successful in one single night, right? So for that, they have to promote themselves. That's why LinkedIn is a very important aspect in that. Now, if you will, start posting your articles there, and you can just write a post that, greetings, people, and I have written an article or titled this and on legal services, it has been published on Legal Services India, and then you can even give the link of the or article so that people can view. Because see, everybody is so lazy, nobody is going to go on your profile and view it, right? If you post it, they can see it and then they can view it. So people will definitely then see, okay, that this is the thing that you have written. Or maybe, and I would suggest everybody, not just Vishal, if you're writing a paper, you should write on some trending topics, some topics which are the hot topics. Okay, yeah, one second. Can you tell me, this session will provide recording? I don't think so that you will have the recording. I have to talk. I'll tell you later about the recording. I'm not sure whether this is recorded or not. Where can I get PDF of what, Ronak? What PDF are you talking about? Can you tell me? Yeah, and Suvarna has written, I had published on registerkaro.com. Uh, Register Karo, I have not heard about Register Karo. If the One second, I have a topic which I want to write an article, but I don't know how to start. Okay, see, the basic thing to start when you have a topic in mind, like I said, research about it. Okay, for example, you can do this, read about 3 4 articles related to your topic. Okay, then do not touch that article again. Open your laptop, start typing on a word, whatever you've understood. Okay, whatever you've understood in your own words, start typing it. There is no need of an introduction, something like that. Just whatever comes to your mind, write down. Okay, then after some time, open that article and read it again, and then read what you have written and see how much is it related. Okay, because the thing is, anything that you write, obviously it should be your original content. You cannot copy paste, right? But it is the thing that whatever you will read, that is the important thing that I am saying. The times, how many times you read, the more you read, the more you'll get original idea, you'll get a lot of more content, you'll get a lot of new ideas. That is how you'll brainstorm, that is how you'll write, that is how you will bring new concepts. This is how you can start, is read a lot, research a lot, analyze a lot, go into deep. See, like in dissertations or thesis and all, you can see a lot of synopsis, research objective, research questions. The first thing is, any topic that you are writing, you should know what is the purpose of the writing. Why did you take this topic? Whatever topic you took, what is the reason that you want to write on this topic, right? And it's not that, for example, Hindu marriage, you can't just write on Hindu marriage act or Hindu marriage law, but what in Hindu marriage, it is such a big thing. So what do you want to write on that? Why have you taken that topic? You should know the purpose of your research. Why do you want to write on this particular topic? That is, you should have so many questions in mind. And when you have so many questions, so you can answer that question through a legal article or a research paper. That is how you can start. Okay, now, as I said, LinkedIn networking is very important. One second. I'm doing my PhD from NLU Punjab. Okay, they always say to publish a research paper in 6 months to the university journal. Yes. So what's the question here? I don't understand, Vishal. The thing is, see, if you're doing a PhD, obviously, is it worthy? Okay. See, like if you see NLUs and all, they have their own journals. They have their call for papers and all. Definitely, it is worthy because you get that NLU tag. Even though the thing is that you should definitely aim for Scopus and UGC indexed journals. If you aim for that, that is very good, because if you're doing PhD and all, you would obviously go into that academia section. That is, for that, they give you scores as per the UGC index and Scopus journals. If you have published in UGC index and Scopus journal, there are some points that will be allotted to you. So it will be important if you publish in UGC and Scopus Index. You can definitely try for these NLU's university journals. They are also good, but for that you have to once check whether they come into that Scopus and UGC Index. Otherwise, you can do there also. It depends on how much time you have to publish it. Uh, 1 second. Okay, guys. Yeah, so I was saying about LinkedIn. So here, as you can see, I've written writing provides a platform to engage with leading figures in the legal field. So as I said already, if you write a lot, you can post a lot on LinkedIn, and through that you can definitely connect with a lot of legal professionals, legal people who might help you. And even you can share your work on social media or professional network, and it can lead to meaningful connections, mentorships, opportunities, etc. And then obviously if you post a lot about your articles, about the links and all, and people will view it more, then it might attract interest from other professional and academics who share simpler interests. Then it can also lead to joint research projects or co-authored papers or even participation in panel discussion. One more thing that I want to highlight is about conferences and seminars. So it is very important to even attend several conferences and seminars. If you see, there are a lot of call for papers that in Loctopus that comes, and if you can publish something in that call for papers thing, then you might be called for to attend the seminar or the conference if your paper gets selected, and then you can also present the paper. So through that you can also get to know how to write a paper and how to present it. And these are very good opportunities in the field of content writing, in the field of legal writing. And as a lawyer, even this will help to boost your confidence. So it is very important for you to even attend these seminars. Where do we get the update? I told you, you can get the update from Loctopus. If you follow Loctopus, there is a mobile app also for Loctopus, and there is a website on normal laptop and all. You can go and you can check there. If you go for the there will be a column on opportunities, and there will be call for papers. So if you go for call for papers, they will tell you there is a lot of call for papers that happens like every month. You can see different seminars. It may be on legal, labor law, on criminal law, on environmental law, every and any kind of law. They have seminars and all, so you can check through Loctopus. So there you can get to know about that. And also, even if you want to know, you can also check in Legitimate India also. There also we keep posting about these call for papers and internships and all, so you can check that. Ajay Kumar has raised his hand. Yes, Ajay. Okay, Maua Chakrabarti has raised her hand. What about Ana Amirzada? Guys, if you have any doubt, only then raise hand, please. Okay, now I'll be talking about the difference.
Ma'am, can you provide any opportunity after this?
Opportunity as in for content writing, you're asking?
Yes.
Yes, so like I said, Legitimate India has you can publish papers here also if you want. So you can do that through Legitimate India. If you're talking about opportunities for content writing and publishing, that is there in Legitimate India. So you can do that.
How can I apply?
You don't see you I get there is a you can go to Legitimate India website, okay, and check there for opportunities. Or I can give you an email ID, and if you have written any paper or you want to write and all, you can mail your paper to this email ID and get it published. I'll just send the email ID. Wait.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah, 1 second.
And what will be the process of submission? We can submit any article on any topic.
Yes, you can submit any article on any topic. It just should be your original content, should not be copy pasted, and plagiarism should be below 20%.
Okay.
But it should be a legal topic on law related.
Yes, ma'am. And what is the process?
Like I said, I'm sending an email ID in the chat box. You can mail if you have written a topic, like you've written a paper and all. You can email to the email ID that I'll be providing, or you can also check in the website Legitimate India. There will be a lot of opportunities. Whatever you want, you can go through that.
Can
Okay,
you
ma'am.
please
Thank
attach
you.
this email ID via WhatsApp group?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you. Can you repeat?
Can you please attach this email ID via WhatsApp group?
Sure, we will send in the WhatsApp group.
Okay, okay.
Sorry, guys. Okay, so we are going. Yeah, so now, guys, tell me what is the difference between a article, a research paper, and a blog?
Ma'am, blog is a scripts and sort of your 500 words. An article is a detailed analysis on a topic.
Okay. Any more
Blog
people?
is limited. Blog is limited, and some highlighted portion that you have attached. But the research is very vast and descriptive way.
Okay. Any more people? Guys,
Yes,
let's.
ma'am.
Yes. Bharti, yes.
Yeah, actually, blog is it's a very informal platform to express our views in a legal, which we are thinking about any specific uh, means any specific topic which is related to any case
Okay.
in a informal system. But our research we have to mention everything in a particular format
Hmm.
which should be in a particular format according to legal, uh, which is very suitable for any learner or an advocate, which will uh, think everything else that it is a genuine topic and it's a genuine format in which we will express our views.
Okay, very good. It's right. So basically, here is the slide for legal article, research paper, and blog. So basic knowledge about legal article is that it is written for a specialized audience. So including law students, practitioners, academicians, advanced legal students. So it is for those audience, and it is basically an in-depth analysis or a commentary on specific legal issues. Right now, article is a very short note. Basically, it can be up to 1500 words or even 2000 words, but it won't go beyond that. Otherwise, then that becomes a long article, which is in turn a research paper. Research papers word limit would be from 3000 to, I guess, 7000, because in a research paper you have to do an in-depth analysis, you have to cite lot of case laws, and it follows a proper format. In research paper you have a format like introduction. First you have to write an abstract, then you have to give an introduction, then you have to have all your subheadings. And even in research papers you have to write research methodology, hypothesis, and literature review. All that comes under research papers. Blogs are very informal. Blogs will be mostly actually semi formal. It would be formal as well as informal, but article and research paper need to be formal. And one thing that is very important is where whatever you write, you have to be sure about the facts. You cannot be writing something that you are not sure about, right? Anything that related to law that you are quoting, you're writing a section, whatever, the more you cite, the more footnotes that you put, the less would be the plagiarism. So even in an article, whether it is 1000 or 2000 words, or whether a research paper it is 3000, 4000, 7000 words, you have to cite as much as you can. Because see, anything that you're writing needs to be cited, right? If I am now citing some case law, or I am citing some particular section of a legislation or a statute, then I have to cite it. You can't just be saying that section whatever talks about this. No, that you are writing, okay, but then when you're writing that, you have to cite that as footnotes in your article, research paper, anything that you're writing, right? So research paper is a very long and a proper, it's a very in-depth analysis, and it will follow a particular format. And article writing doesn't really have a proper format. Basic article writing would be, you have to write a title, then you follow it with an introduction. You can give a short introduction, and then comes the main content and the conclusion. That's it. But research paper, you will have abstract, you will have introduction, you will have hypothesis, you will have research methodology, you'll have literature review, then you'll have a lot of other subheadings, then you'll have conclusion. Before conclusion, you will also have to write a critical analysis of what you have written, and then you have to give some suggestions also, and then comes conclusion. So there is a very big process that goes on in research paper writing. Okay, now blog is, as I told you, it's very semi formal. And blog is basically, you have different, if you would see, there are WordPress, then there's this Blogspot, and various other websites. So these websites are there for particularly writing for blogs only. So blogs are basically flexible in structure. And for blogs, one thing that is more important is that you should have a very catchy introduction. Because in a blog and all, that you are writing, blogs, you can earn through blogging also, and that is mostly done through views. And you'll get good views only when you have a good catchy introduction. If you don't have a catchy introduction, nobody's going to read your blog. So for a catchy introduction, you have to be very creative, and your creativity comes from where? From your mind. And that will come when you read a lot, you'll research a lot, you will write a lot. Okay, so that is the difference between legal article, research paper, and blogs. Now, yeah, now I'll be talking about the AI thing. So basically, in AI, like I said, you cannot copy paste. You can take the help of AI for references. You can take the help of AI for giving a format of the paper. You can just give a prompt of, what the AI will tell you about how the format should be. But you cannot copy paste anything. See, AI is just a way, is a tool to help you, but it cannot be doing the work, right? You can't take credit of AI. You cannot copy paste all the work in your name and then publish and want to publish it and take its credit. That's not possible. And the one thing that I told you before also, that Turnitin is a very very clever software. So if you would clearly copy from it, or even if you paraphrase and copy from it, nothing is going to happen, because Turnitin will catch it definitely. It has the AI percentage and it has the plagiarism percentage separately. So even if you copy from AI, it is not going to have any use. Okay, whether grammatical mistakes can be corrected, yes, you can use AI for grammar, but I would still suggest you can use Grammarly for that. You have a software properly, Grammarly, so you can use that for grammatical mistakes. And it is free also. You don't need to pay anything for Grammarly use and all. You just have to register through your email ID, and it is free. So you can do that. Okay, so AI basically, it talks about the importance of original thought. So here, the basic thing is that legal writing demands original analysis, critical thinking, and nuanced understanding of complex issues. I have mentioned it earlier also, that originality is the main thing in a legal writing. The only thing that you have to do is read, write, research, deep analysis, and you will do that through, obviously you have to think a lot about the topics. You have to ask yourself a lot of questions, and then there will be originality. And there is no point, you have to understand one thing is, you can't just you can't be like, one day you'll write and next day you want it published. No, that is not possible. You have to take out time, you have to have patience, you have to read a lot, you have to do a lot of work, and then it will get published. And for published, I'm saying, see, one thing that I'll tell you. Somebody saying something? Yeah, so one thing that I'll tell you is, never ever pay and get it published. There are a lot of journals which will ask you payments, which will be like, this is the publishing fee, 1,000 rupees, 1,500, whatever the thing is, and they'll be like, get it, they'll get it published in 2 days. See, that is never ever going to help. Never do that. Never ever. Guys, please, can you mute yourself? Can you please mute yourself if you're not saying anything? Saurabh, you're please mute yourself. Thank you. Yes. Sneha has written, I'm in first year law student. I find research work very difficult. Can you suggest some more sites for research work and how to search a case law? See, for case laws, obviously you have SCC online, you have SCC, you have Heen online, you have Manupatra, you have Westlaw. These are the places where you can search for case laws. Okay, for case laws, judgments, SCC, Manupatra, Heen online, these are your best friends. You have to, research on that. First, I would say, go on these sites and learn how to use these sites, because not a lot of people know how to use these sites. Right? SCC, Manupatra, Case Mine is also good, and like all these things will give you good judgments and good case
But
laws.
ma'am,
Yes.
but these all platforms are exclusively expensive. So how can we learn these all things from
No,
free?
no, you don't need to pay for these platforms. See, if you are a law student and all, your college will provide you access for these things, right? You have to just go to your library or whoever is your admin authority, and you can ask them to give you access for that. Even I was a law student, I had all these access from my college itself. See, if you are a 3 year law student or a 5 year law student, you will have access of these things through your college only. You just have to go to the people and ask them, because obviously you are in India, nothing will happen till you
Yes,
go and ask, right? So
yes.
obviously you have to go to the library, ask them, and they have to provide you, definitely, because it is expensive, I agree. So you can go through SCC online, Heen online, Manupatra, Case Mine. You can even use Indian Kanun is free, right? So there you can use.
EBC reader is also one of the best nowadays.
Which one?
EBC reader.
Yeah, EBC reader is also good. Yeah, I'm just telling you, like, few of them. There are a list of all these things that are there. So, one second. Somebody has written, I don't think government universities provide access for this, ma'am. They don't even tell about these things to students. See, I don't really know about the government universities thing, but you can at least, see, obviously, see, no colleges will tell you about these things. This is, you have to learn on your own. Even I didn't know about it when I was a law student. I researched a lot and I then got to know about it. So, you have to learn a lot. You have to learn through there only. You have to read and you have to research. See, Google में when we take out time, हम YouTube पे जाते हैं, we do research, we go on Instagram. So rather than going on YouTube, Instagram for just time passing, or just having fun or chill, you can at least research on these things, SCC online and all. I understand for government universities, but like, if there is some way that you can talk to your university and maybe at least try if they can give you these access, because I think that every university gives access. I am not sure about government, that I'll get to you after researching myself about it.
Yes, ma'am. Government college also provide that.
It does, right? Yeah. So it should, yeah. So then I would suggest you guys should go to your admin or the library and all and talk about it. Only some. uh okay, but at least try यार, बिना try करे तो कुछ नहीं होगा ना. So you have to go and at least start. कुछ कहीं से तो शुरू करो. कुछ तो करते हैं. So first start, go and ask what if they'll give you, and if they don't give you, then you can try the other free sources that are there. There are a lot of free sources also that you can try for judgments and all. If not, uh, They do not, but Case Mine is absolutely free. You only need to provide college documentations. Yes, okay. Then you can use Case Mine, but there is Indian Kanun also. Indian Kanun is also good for case laws. You can see, and if you do Google search and all for case laws, you'll get a bundle of free sites that comes. Okay, and even Blog Eye Pleaders has a lot of good case laws and that have been published already. So they also provide that, so you can check there also. Okay, so I'll be just winding up. So see, it's just like AI that I'm telling you. In AI, you have to see for plagiarism. You have to see. You cannot copy. You cannot be like एक दिन में लिखते हैं chat gpt को prompt करके कि क्या है. No, that is not going to help you. And if you are literally aiming for writing a very good papers and all, you have to cite really, you have to put lot of citations. You have to put footnotes and citations. Matlab, it's not that you can do anything like that. No, if you go to Google now, for example, Blue Book, so there is this 20th Harvard edition of Blue Book. So you have to search on Google, they'll give you a PDF. There is a guide for that, so you have to follow their proper citations. So they have a proper citation of how to cite a book. Now they will say that name of the author. How is the name of the author to be written? In bold or in italics or in capitals? Everything is mentioned there. So you have to go as per that. You cannot be like kuch bhi cite kare. That is not possible. How do we add cite? Yeah, like I said, Anushri, we have to add citations. See, it's like in the Word doc, if you go, there is a section on references, and there is in references you have footnotes. So you have to just press footnotes, and for Word there is the shortcut is Control plus F. So if you do that, you will have the footnote, and you have to obviously manually cite it as per the guidelines that is given to you. Now if it is Blue Book 20th edition, you have to follow that guide, you have to follow that PDF. How to cite, they have given properly everything. How to cite a newspaper article, how to cite a website, how to cite a PDF, how to cite a book, how to cite a journal article. Everything is given. You just have to read it properly and cite it as per your need. Yes, yeah, exactly. Right, Vishal. Like author name, year, place of publication. Yes, it is. You have to just see that how it is given. कि कई जगह पे they'll ask you to put it in bold or put it in italics. वो सब you have to see how it is given in the PDF. Otherwise, see, it is not difficult, guys. It's just कि you have to start doing it. एक बार वही है ना. Once you try it, you will know it is not that easy. I also was a first timer. मैंने भी कुछ ऐसे नहीं करा है, right? I've also been a law student. In my COVID time, I started doing research paper writing and all. My first writing was in Law Bhumi. I published my first paper. That was on Hindu marriage thing. So that I did. But the paper that I wrote and the last paper that I've written now, it is obviously it will have a lot of difference, because at that time I was still learning. Now also I'm still learning, but now I've improved quite a lot as per my first article.
Ma'am, can you please show me the demo copy? How to write the legal research paper?
Demo copy as in the footnotes ka you're asking, or what?
No, research paper. How to design?
Okay, you want a demo copy? Sure, I will. I can send you my link for like one of my paper and all. I can give you that, but we will talk about this in detail in our upcoming sessions about how to properly write a paper. But if you want, I can send you one of the links for my research paper that I have written. Okay, that we will send you. Otherwise,
Yes, ma'am. It will be helpful for us
you
if
want.
you please share. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Please
Okay,
share.
okay, 1 second. Just give me 1 second.
Thank you.